Hello and welcome to Mass Reflect, a podcast about the subtextual politics of video games. And I'm your co-host, Beatrice, or B, and with me as always is my co-host...
Rob. I'm Rob.
Yeah,
Co-host
you're
extraordinaire.
Co-host extraordinaire. And, I feel like This is a really exciting episode for you, right? Because
Yes. I've been waiting for us to get to our Hoth level in Mass Effect, and we finally did it.
Yeah, we got to Noveria. It's actually not only our Hoth level, it's a very exciting crossover because it's kind of also our Star Trek level.
This feels like I always remember Noveria the strongest of all the worlds in Mass Effect that you visit. And I think it is because it is the one time where I feel like the promise of Mass Effect actually kind of shines its head in the first game, where it's not just going to be you rolling through planets killing people, but like you interact with people, you get involved in the story in a big way. A lot of you see a lot more of the politics sort of put forward in the game.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of the first areas where like my memory of how it kind of expands is similar to how it does.
Yeah.
Not as fully. I still do remember this being more robust than it ended up being, but there is a lot more here than Pharos and definitely Artemis Tau.
Totally. I definitely
Artemis
remember
Tau, a planet with one NPC, basically.
Yeah. No, I definitely remember there being a lot more to Noveria than there ended up being. But, like, I would also say, like, if you ask me my memory, Noveria was, like, a 5-hour section of the game, not a 2-hour section of the game.
I was also, like, pleasantly surprised with how malleable not malleable it was, but, like, how you could actually approach it and kind of get to places in the story differently, although it did then make my playthrough of it a little weird, to be honest.
Yeah, I did. I had some weird spots as well. But I do think it is like the most open and systematic section of the game. And it is that, like, and that's what I mean when I say, like, it feels like sort of the promise of Mass Effect coming to is like that you could see other paths through these, not just making choices at key moments, but also like I totally like subverted an entire section of the game by accident.
I think we might have subverted the same section of the game. Did you find the hot labs super underwhelming?
I did, yeah. I did not go straight to the hot labs because I was like, well, if she's in the hot labs, I should explore the rest of this huge base. And then I found the person who you're looking for.
Yes, same. Same. I'm excited to talk about this. I really am. Okay.
Well, let's get into it. So we arrive on Noveria, and it's a corporate-run town that doesn't recognize Citadel space laws. Or council law, I guess, is the way that's described.
Yeah, I would argue, though, it is essentially treated in the text of the game as, like, it doesn't recognize council laws, but it's mostly run by corporations based out of council space, run by council species. So it's like, okay, sure, it's outside of council space.
It's also weird because
It's like Switzerland for banking, for terrible experiments.
well, I guess that's it, right? Like Noveria solely like doesn't exist as it's not an ideologue. It's not like Noveria is like, damn, we're making our point for why the rest of the galaxy should be, libertarian and free of pointless regulations. It is literally like a lawless zone for all of the like government and powerful people from council space to come and basically do whatever they want.
No, this isn't like this isn't like Andrew Ryan's Rapture. This is basically a black site where corporations with shady Spectre ties perform shady, maybe against like the conventions of war or something else, experiments. It's What I'm saying is, it seems like a deniable asset for the council species, and like, for the council, I mean, and not an actual separate entity.
And
you know what I'm saying?
Totally. And we also know that, like, the council actually does have deep connections here. Because while we don't know if the 3 members of the council do, it's never stated, at least in the sections, if it is, I missed it. Like, we do know that Spectres can just be can be stockholders and on the board of directors for these corporations.
Yeah. In fact, for a human corporation, Binary Helix is a human corporation. Apparently, that Saren is like major interest holder, and it's so insane. And by insane, I mean very good. It's actually quite well reasoned.
Yeah, no, it's a part of this, like, I don't know if everything hits the way I would want, like, showing up at Corpo Town to be, but, like, I think it's definitely for the time. Like, there's a lot of interesting things going. This feels very edgy for 2007 on how people are talking about capitalism at this point.
Well, I think to me, it wasn't really edgy, because it's... And I agree that it's like very deeply rooted in the game, and I like that it's there because I think it says stuff, but I'm not sure it's fully conscious, and when it is, I'm not sure it's entirely anti-corporate. I think it kind of toes an interesting line.
I think it definitely toes the line. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was really paying attention to this aspect just because I found it like so interesting. But I think we could maybe disagree, and that might be fine, because there's a lot here.
That's fair,
and it's definitely going to be like. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. I think part of that is, I think when we get through the story, I'll defend my point more as we kind of go through it. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. No, I think there are like critiques of it. I just think that they come from a different right-wing place, which is interesting to me, because
Oh, you think it is definitely,
I don't know.
like...
Maybe right-wing wasn't the right... Yeah, we'll get to this. We'll get to this stuff. We might also just be talking about entirely different things, and
that's true too,
and stuff.
And it's interesting because, we just left Pharos, which was aliens, and now we get to Noveria, which is also aliens, but but also
which
like
is a much better. Oh, sorry.
Oh, please, you said.
No, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, but also the part of aliens where they spend some time on the space station before they go back to the planet.
No, I feel like Noveria is literally beat for beat aliens, and so I'm like, was Pharaoh supposed to be alien? Is there like a thing going on here?
You do go to like a weird prison-like planet in Mass Effect 2, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Oh man. where there's a very powerful and dangerous being let loose.
Yeah.
And you are a clone of yourself in Mass Effect 2, like Alien 4.
Had Alien 4 come out yet?
Yeah, Alien 4 is in the 90s.
Okay. Oh, right. Crap.
I remember it very distinctly because Alien 4 came out that I started to become aware of the alien. Because I would see a lot of alien adjacent commercials.
Yeah, that makes sense. I I'm sorry, I just don't have a great sense of the numbering of the Aliens films.
No, it's fair.
So yeah, no. I guess what we're saying is, open and shut case. Mass Effect is basically a remake of Alien.
Yeah.
As a franchise, we don't need to play these video games anymore.
I mean, if you really want to dive into it, Andromeda is not that different from Prometheus.
You know, they might also just be very trope-heavy examples of the sci-fi thing. But
That's true, yeah. But
I was also amused that it is again kind of beat for beat Aliens.
I just watched the David Lynch Dune movie though last night, which is not worth watching. I'm just gonna say it. If you're someone who's like, man, the new Dune movie is coming out, maybe it's time to go back to the David Lynch one. Don't. You're good.
I've seen it twice.
But I don't think like Dune is a much more direct comparison for what Mass Effect is going for, but I don't think it is as much of a direct comparison at all in the text of it, you know?
No.
But Alien just seems to keep popping its head.
Look, I know Aliens shouldn't be on my mind, but it kind of is. Also, there is like a queen and a kind of hive mind species aspect in both-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did... Okay, so, did you actually look at the codex entry for Noveria?
I did. I'd have to check my notes. It's been 2 weeks since I actually played it.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So another aspect of that was, like, part of the entry was that this divisive mention of, like, the Noveria is the center of multiple conspiracy theories. I'm like, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. I like that it refers to them as conspiracy theories and not like legitimate investigations that should be held. Because while on Noveria, I found an ancient species thought dead being turned into weapons of war, and an evil virus being turned into weapons of war, and a lot of like stuff that I'm like, maybe, you know, I know the council is basically ineffectual, in terms of like dealing with stuff like this, but maybe we should maybe there needs a deeper we should spend more time on Noveria. I am basically the law. Let's go through and do a real investigation of this.
Alright, so you said ineffectual, but I have to... So I have a big brain theory of Mass Effect's council now.
Oh, really?
Which is that actually it is just kind of an ineffectual figurehead thing, and that the real movers and shakers are these like intelligence agencies.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And Spectre. And,
yeah, 100%. I've had this. Yeah. I've also had this theory going on for Mass Effect.
Yeah, no, because it is literally this point where the Solarian like reliance on intelligence agencies comes out, and they're like, okay, we're gonna destroy our intelligence agency. That becomes like this weird rogue thing. And their solution is, we're going to make a new intelligence agency. It's going to be somehow more secretive. And that's the positive end of that scenario.
Totally. Like, no. Also, just as an aside, I figured out what was wrong with my sound setup. My headphones weren't fully plugged in. So I had to turn you down for a second because I could barely hear you. And I was like, well, it'll probably be fine. It's probably just, you know, the connection or something. But no, it was me. It was me the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, no, definitely, like, the more we have actually seen how this government is run, the more I just think, like, no, it is, the Spectres are the real power here, because the Spectres are above question, and they're empowered by the Council, and the Council can strip away that power, but they seem extremely reluctant to, and I was considering this about the end of Mass Effect 1, where you get a choice, basically, to whether or not to save the Council.
Yeah.
And I know we're jumping ahead here, but like that is a choice that you can make. You can make that choice. And no, like I don't know, I've never I don't think I've played through a playthrough where I've made that choice fully throughout the game, so I don't know what the long-term repercussions of it are, but like I imagine it's not you're arrested and put on trial. Like it seems like you get stripped of your power in the second game for completely different reasons, no matter which choice you make. You know.
You can actually get your Spectre power back in the second game.
Oh really? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I always do. It's one of those things though that in the end I feel like they didn't think that through.
Well, I think it's like one of those things where getting the Spectre status again doesn't matter once you become a Spectre. Because once you become a Spectre, you have such like power and authority that like by Mass Effect 2, I don't think it matters if you're a Spectre, because essentially being this high level Cerberus agent is pretty much the same thing.
You're right. In fact, I'm gonna take the view that Mass Effect is propaganda written by the Systems Alliance about their like glorious past and their glorious hero.
Yeah, totally.
Commander Shepard. But actually, like the real thing that happened is like they might have stripped your Spectre status, whatever. Shepard had so many connections and so much money at that point that like they could just do whatever they wanted.
I mean, they
basically were the Spectres.
The Council stripped...
Do you know how many died?
The Council stripped Saren's Spectre status, and that hasn't stopped him. That hasn't even been a hitch in his stride, you know?
No, if anything, I've been more impressed by him since that's happened.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah. So you arrive on Noveria,
which is just to say that Codex entry is 100% the Alliance and Council line and not a real thing. This is nightmares are going on in Noveria.
Oh, I think more and more the Codex feels like a document written in game.
Yes.
Just because it's factual, but it's not. It is always like. I just always feel like the details it decides to omit are very interesting. Right.
Well, it's obviously like written in game, like from just its presentation even, because it's got this very like boring, neutralish voice, which is what like I would imagine a like generic virtual intelligence would sound like in 2007, because it wasn't yet, you know.
Yeah, totally.
Ubiquitous to have like a female voice, and guess what? Mass Effect sure changed that one aspect later.
So yeah, we arrive on Noveria. They're at first like, hey, you can't come here. We don't respect council law. I mean, we'll let you on because you're a Spectre, but also fuck you. Yeah. And we meet the administrator of this facility. What was it? Was this facility just a dock? It seems like it's a town also.
No, yeah, it's like kind of just a hub station, I think, for the various corporate people moving between the facilities on Noveria.
Yeah. And we meet a
It does seem like it maybe has a small town, or I'm sorry, like a largish town, or maybe a city-sized number of people who mostly live and work there as well. But yeah,
we meet a Solarian named Anoleus, who's the administrator of this town. Who would be in the modern Mass Effect movie adaptation would be played by Jesse Eisenberg.
Or yes, who would be played by Jesse Eisenberg.
Just because I feel like that is who Jesse Eisenberg plays ever since he did The Social Network.
Yeah. Oh, we should actually maybe mention, so we're here to investigate Saren and Benezia and like this corporate entity that they're with, which is Binary Helix, a weapons manufacturer, and as we said, a human company.
Also called Binary Helix, which immediately implies that they're
Yes.
but they're also a weapons manufacturer, so to tell you what sort of weapons they're making.
Yeah.
Bioweapons.
Or you know what? It might not be bioweapons, Rob. To be fair, this is Mass Effect. It could be that Binary Helix means that they were a eugenics company. That morphed into
they were
bioweapons.
That's the thing. That's the thing about Binary Helix that I found in one of the codex entries. I was just about to look this up because I didn't write this down. But good. I think I remember reading somewhere, and I think I remember reading somewhere that they're who eventually bought the Jump Zero, the place where Kaden Alenko was trained as a biotic.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
I could be I now need to double check that because we were talking about it. I was like, wait, didn't they buy the thing? And I think they did. Let me look this up.
All right. I was mostly just joking, so I'm glad that panned out. Oh, I've also found them mentioned in a weird codex entry. So I went to the Sol system afterwards.
Yes, I've also been there.
Yeah. The largest outpost on Jupiter is
That's
Binary
what I
Helix
was thinking
Corporation's
about. Yeah.
Nautilus facility attached to the underside of Europa's ice sheet.
Yeah. No, Binary Helix. My computer just went black for some reason.
Oh no.
No, it's fine.
Oh, no.
I'm fine. I was just on this wiki page for Binary Helix, and it went bad for a minute. I don't know why. Because they're trying to, like, push a video thing.
Because Binary Helix is secretly a real, actual op, somehow, by the CIA.
I think that their specific Europa organization, I'm seeing this now, is going to come back later, so I don't want to read too deeply. But so I could be mistaken about this, but I am fairly certain that that Binary Helix is somehow tied to either they were originally tied. I think it was a different company that was tied to the Jump Zero biotic training facility, but I think somehow Binary Helix is involved. Also, I'll try to find that and we can bring that back. I'm shocked I didn't write that down. Maybe I did it on another sheet or something. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to investigate this very shady human company who has ties with an anti-human Turian.
Yeah. So we meet Annaleus, the overseer of this place, and he doesn't really care about us or the council. He actually had a fun line here, which is that project leads have the final say here, not meddlesome politicians.
Yeah. And there's also a great line where someone's like, well, isn't this lawless? And he's like, well, if it was lawless, that'd be bad for business. And I'm like, really, dog? I don't know. Seems like you really do pretty well based off of lawlessness, where we get into it later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's... Well, also, what is lawlessness in a place outside of a state-ish thing that provides law? The entire point of Noveria is to do quasi to very illegal things. I'm not even, bullshitting here, right? That's the entire point of this mission, and it doesn't seem like Binary Helix is actually exceptional.
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely, if what we're seeing in Binary Helix is any indication, then, I mean, it was well, what are the laws that they are even talking about then, right? And for me, I think, the reality, when we talk about government regulation in real life, as far as corporations go, it's mostly about environmentalism, which maybe has a different edge to it when you can just go to a planet that is already like frozen over. I mean, it's never described how it got that way, but we can wonder, you know.
Yeah. We we can. And I have no idea.
So he basically says he's not letting us go to Binary Helix.
Yeah.
And then we get approached by Gianna, his assistant, who reveals that she is really a corporation cop for the
Yeah. I think it might have been pronounced Gianna, but I cannot actually remember.
Yeah, I could be mistaking it for the famous video game series, the Gianna Sisters. I apologize if I am. But
I'm sorry. No, I just don't remember how. I was thinking.
You
Gianna,
might be Gianna. It might be Gianna.
You might be Gianna, or you might be Annaleus,
or you
might be Quinn.
Quinn. We also meet Quinn.
It wasn't pronounced Quinn.
No, it is. It's not spelled that way. It's like Quinn, but it's not spelled that way, but it is pronounced like Quinn or something. I
thought it was spelt like Quinn because it basically looks like Quinn, but then it was pronounced very weird. And I was like, oh crap.
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember this. Whatever.
She points us in the direction of a Turian named Quinn who has incriminating evidence about Annaleus, but it is currently in his office, which he can't get to because Annaleus has hired some cops to go and turn it over looking for this evidence.
Yes.
You go, you show up, you murder some cops, and you take the evidence.
You actually have this weird moment where you can talk the cops down.
Yes,
or try to.
It's so bizarre.
And you can, and some will leave, and then there will be more, and they will still be like, why'd you kill you? Why are you a dirty cop killer?
Yeah, because you shot at us.
And literally, I was like, I didn't. They left.
Yeah,
because it was like, yeah, stop. I don't care about this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't either.
I was like, you should go. And they were like, sure. And then there was like 20 other cops. And I'm like, well, I guess I gotta murder these cops. Because they're shooting me.
I mean, I was really nonplussed. I feel like this might be a glitch.
I think it is a thing where they don't... I feel like this happens a lot in this game where they have a lot of moral choices, but they sometimes don't have enough, so they add a bunch in, but they still want you to have the conflict, right? Like, they just didn't have the time to figure out what the alternative would be.
We're also saying cops, but they're not. They're like private military contractors,
I mean,
basically, right?
Yeah, but cops...
I know they're doing, like, a coppish duty, but they're not.
They do refer to themselves as cops, which is crazy, because it's like, you're on a corporate-run town.
At the best, they're Pinkertons, so I guess private cops.
Yeah.
But they're not I don't know.
Yeah, we call them corrupt at a certain point, which is crazy because I don't think there's any actual evidence of corruption, because what law are they breaking if this is a planet with no laws that affect... I mean, I'm sure there are definitely, like, vagrancy laws, right? Like, there are definitely laws that would hurt people who are poor, but, like... I doubt that there is, like, that thick of a rule book on how to be a cop on Noveria.
No, because I doubt there's, like, a rule book beyond, hey, the overseer pays you bills, you follow the overseer's commands. Maybe you follow the board's commands, but I don't know, it doesn't seem like the board actually has that much power.
I mean,
it's kind of weird.
They don't, because they have to send a undercover agent to enforce their law.
Yes.
Which, I don't know, like, she's looking for... Gianna reveals herself to be an undercover agent. She wants the evidence to take down Annaleus. You get a choice to either the Paragon choice to help her, or the non-Paragon choice to just give the evidence to Ken, who will... then give you access to get off of the station and go to Binary Helix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gianna's a fun corporate cop who has the line, "Look, Shepard, I don't like this either. You specters play fast and loose with the law. That's bad for business."
Yeah.
Which is like, what do you mean?
Dude, let me tell you about this company called Binary Helix and what they're up to right now across, like, on the other ridge over there.
Let me tell you about these guys who seem to be, like, renting out some pretty extensive facilities from you. They're not great.
It's just weird to be on this planet where, like, the whole conceit is there's no council law here, and then to, like, be told that we play fast and loose with it.
It's so weird to be told that you play fast and loose with the law in a place that is literally outside of the law to play fast and loose with the law.
And it's not really described what Annaleus was doing beyond a quote that you added into our notes here, which is, like, the rule is not to rock the boat. You know?
Yeah. Self-interest is tolerated if it doesn't interfere with business. And Elias is driving customers away. Sorry.
Yeah, I wish that we had a longer segment about what Annaleus is specific. I mean, we know he's a jerk, but, like,
yeah,
I want to know what the line is here. And is it a line? Like, my theory on this is that there really isn't. This is all just, like, corporate backstabbing, because, like,
yeah,
obviously, like, this is one other powerful person on Noveria being like, all right, I'm gonna put in an undercover agent because we can just do that on each other, and I need the evidence to show other people so I can take control of X, you know?
Yeah. There was also this weird part of Quinn's thing where, like, the best Paragon outcome was you convincing him to give over the evidence by, like, framing it as him getting a leg up with the board.
Yeah.
Basically appealing to his self-interest.
I mean, to be fair, if the board doesn't like you, you end up like Annaleus.
Yeah. Well, you end up like Annaleus if someone gives them evidence to bring him down in a weird court of law-like sense.
I mean, but it's not even a court of law-like sense, because in a real court of law, there's no way that evidence would be accepted.
Well, yeah, but there's also... I more just meant there's a semi-vague legal framework.
Right,
quote-unquote,
totally, yeah.
That they're going through.
But
not an actual court and law process, sorry.
Like, one of the points you brought up is, like, there's a point where, like, Gianna reads Annaleus his Miranda rights. But it's only you have the right to remain silent line.
Yeah.
Which are not the full Miranda rights.
Nope.
Or even, to be honest, I mean, it is an important one, the right to remain silent. But also, the right to an attorney is pretty... I mean, what is there... Do they just... I mean, I can't imagine they have any actual Miranda rights. That must just be a human joke.
I don't know. It's the weirdest line, because I said very seriously. It said like she's a cop in a show, and she's then like is also...
Is it though? Because I remember the line being like, you have the right to remain silent, and I sure to God hope you use it.
Yeah, but it's done in like a gruff... I don't know, it just felt very like cop show of that era.
Fair, yeah. For me, I thought it was like the one human winking at the other human, like, can't wait to take this alien down, right? I guess I owe you a beer later.
I guess I owe you a beer later. I was like, no, you don't. I don't drink beer.
I do. So I was like, can't wait to have that beer with Gianna. I feel like I remember... We talked about a lot about, like, our memory of this game and the reality of it. And for me, it is a lot of, like... I thought there were a lot more steps in this investigating the corporate espionage thing. But maybe I was just conflating, like, the side quest where you go and help another corporate person do corporate espionage on another corporation.
Yeah. That. Yeah. Oh, before we get to that, just two little character beats. There's a Brooklyn accented Turian mechanic, Lee.
Nice. I didn't talk to him a lot,
Uh,
so I didn't get a lot out of him.
he rules. He's very laid back. He's just like, I love my job, love working on a truck. So I'm like, cool. His full name is Lilihirix, and I think Hirix is a Greek word for some kind of bird of prey. I don't know. I looked him up because I was like, I'm not going to remember this Turian mechanic's name because I didn't. But he's fun. And then this was something Tali said in the elevator. My people have dealt with the corporations of Noveria in the past. They pay well and don't ask questions.
That has to be an implication about that we have seen in the codex entries about how the Quarians basically are scavengers. So
Yeah.
that to me implies that they then go and sell whatever they find to the corporations on Noveria.
I wanted to talk very quickly about the Asari and the bar.
Yeah, so I didn't play this I didn't play the side quest. She approached me and I was like, "Look, I'm that's illegal. I'm a cop."
Oh.
Because
Look, I played fast and loose.
I played Shepard very earnestly because otherwise I don't know if I could play this game, frankly.
See, I am also playing earnestly, but I guess my earnest way is to try to get in the head of Shepard, and I feel like my Shepard is someone who's navigating this complex galaxy badly.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that is part of Shepard too, right? Like Shepard is this military person thrust into, because they're a military person and this is a fascist state, a lot of political power.
Yes. But because it's not like actually framed as a fascist state, it's weirdly like portrayed as a very like babe in the woods innocence. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah. So how'd that play out for you?
Yeah. Well, it was kind of cool. You got to learn that there are Asari commandos with Benezia. And like that the Asari is like worried about Asari working with Binary Helix and maybe developing or giving them biotics because she's from, I think, an Asari cooperative that develops biotics. I really liked going through the Paragon decisions here because it was all just like knowing business jargon and like talking at like this business guy, and he has this fun line which was never heard of a government having good business sense. And then you just tell the Asari what you learned, and if you have a high enough Paragon level, you can literally extort her for more credits.
Great. Love being
Right?
Paragon in this world.
I love that. Like literally has happened a bunch of times in this specific like level. It's as if Paragon is, it's not like, it isn't a level of good or evil. It's a level of how much the people in the place approve of you or not.
Right.
And that's weirdly, and that changes a bit in Mass Effect 2, I think. But here, at least, it's very obviously always, yep. I just know the right things to say to the right people. But now let's move on to investigating Binary Helix.
Yeah, so we finally get out of there, take a ride, fight some Geth along the way, show up at Binary Helix Research Lab. it's pretty amazing because we get to meet the Rachni for the first time. Although I already... So you brought up their codex entry. I actually got I got their codex entry very early in the game.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it is very much... The Rachni are Ender's Game, essentially.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like everything in Mass Effect 1 is... Like, what science fiction thing is this that has been brought into this world, right? Like, the Rachni are Ender's Game, the Quarians are Battlestar Galactica, and Pharos and Noveria are aliens. The Reapers are Terminator.
Yeah, the Reapers are also a little bit the Shadows from Babylon 5.
Yeah, I haven't watched Babylon 5, so I don't have that context, but yeah.
I know, I'm sorry, but there is a lot, I think, intentional of Babylon 5 in here. Including a fascist Earth government, but in Babylon 5, that was a bad thing.
Yeah. It's... But, and just like, and I mean, more and more,
sorry.
I feel like less Star Trek in this,
Yes. I did like that the Rachni Codex entry said that that trying to make contact with the Queens was futile, which implies it was like kind of beyond the capabilities of Council.
Yeah. And then states that the Rachni refuse surrender. Yeah.
Yes. And it's like, oh, cool. That's not contradictory at all.
And, like, it gets even weirder when you get to the part where you meet the Rachni Queen.
Yeah, it gets so much weirder at that point. Yeah, we'll get to that.
So, the Rachni have gone crazy and started murdering people. You go through the area, you have to reconnect some stuff, you find a group of survivors, it gets very aliens. You help them.
It gets very aliens.
You help them fend off the Rachni. Not as much as I remembered. I remember this being a lot more end of an intensive scene, but it doesn't really get into it all that much.
Yeah.
We find out that they're also building a chemical weapon, like a disease, which everyone's like, oh, that's horrific. But again, that's what the Turians did to the Krogan.
Yep.
How human run is Noveria?
I don't think the actual planet is.
Yeah. But
I think Binary Helix
is, but there's also a lot of like humans in power and like, or at least like climbing up the ranks of it.
I feel like that is part of the Alliance propaganda that these games are. It shows humanity expanding ever upward throughout the galaxy.
Yeah. I mean, forever infiltrating other people's societies and slowly taking them over.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it, on a more generous note, I think it might just be that they assumed humans might be more interesting characters for people to deal with than aliens.
I mean...
Which was the wrong assumption.
Yes,
it was the wrong assumption.
But also, given the small range that we've seen on alien personalities,
Yeah. That changes a lot in Mass Effect 2. From what I remember, maybe it doesn't. Who knows?
Yeah. So the doctor accidentally infected other people in the company. Needs you to help create a cure. Which is an important part, because what you're supposed to do is have gone to the hot labs, not found Venezia, come back, and they're like, well, we don't know. And then it's the doctor who tells you the real place that Venezia is. Me thinking that this was just a side quest, I went and did this.
Me too.
Before going to the hot labs. And so it's like, it's this weird thing where then, like, yeah, there's an Asari.
I love that we played through the same way.
But it's like the natural way to play the game. You know?
Yes.
It's weird because, as you pointed out, this is a far more open section of the game. but it expects you to play through it in a very linear way. Whereas if I enter a place and someone's like, yeah, you have to go here, I'm like, cool, before I go there, this is an open space, I'm gonna go see what side quests are around.
I actually weirdly feel like we should talk about the hot labs first, mostly because I don't want to talk about them after Benezia, because they're very boring and they suck.
Yeah, there's nothing to them.
The hot labs is literally just, like, a place for you to go for you to get all the information that you would have gotten if you just talked to the doctor.
Yeah.
And like, had a whole different, better side quest that introduced all the same things. I was like, this is a worse intro. Why do you have this? Why don't you just find the hot labs, like, inaccessible?
Yeah. Well, it's
or maybe,
it's so
like,
that
already
you have
purged of Rachni. I don't know.
It's so that you can purge the Rachni. Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not fun for Mass Effect unless if you genocide a species on a planet.
It's... To be fair, Rob, this is a limited genocide of a small group of Rachni who have been rendered utterly insane. Which is what the Russian accented doctor said.
And also, like, if you help the Rachni queen later, she's like, hey, can you go murder all those Rachni for me? Great, thanks, I'm out.
Yeah, which I wish that, like, if you had done it the way that we did it, you wouldn't have to, like, have the section on the hot labs.
It'd be awesome.
That would be much better.
That would have been a much better game, yeah. But it's not,
we should actually maybe talk about that in order, though, because I do like the way the Rachni queen is.
Yeah, that's true.
Present.
So
I'm sorry.
You drop a bomb, blow up the hot labs, purge the place of the Rachni. And then you go and this doctor's like, hey, I can help you, but you have to help me first. In the midst of creating the cure and doing a boring puzzle, I think, at some point, you're then attacked by the one surviving Asari, who's there with a bunch of Geth, which apparently nobody noticed.
Yep. Well, they came in through a different entrance.
Yeah.
And, like, I think the storerooms, or maybe the garage. Jeez, I'm sorry. I don't remember. I don't remember what it was, but it was something.
So you do that, then you get the access to the real secret labs where Benezia is hanging out with the Rachni Queen.
Yeah. Oh, also the cure section had this weird bit, where an Asari, like, survivor turned out to be a sleeper agent for Benezia, literally Shepard's words.
Who was?
Do you remember this cure section where there was, like, this lady who had been in that, like, basically the hub area for the area
the Asari lady, right?
Yeah, the Asari lady who was a sleeper agent for Benezia.
Yeah.
Again, literally Shepard's words.
They say sleeper agent? I missed that.
Yes, I think it might be tied to the dialogue choice, so I don't know if you
maybe I missed
picked that same one, but like,
that's not what a sleeper agent is.
Well, I guess it technically works.
Yeah. There's a lot of use of phrases in this game that are mind-boggling.
Yeah, there's a lot. Look, it was a huge game. I get it.
I mean, there was the Nietzschean Superman thing.
Yep. That look. Okay. Yes.
So what do you make of Matriarch Benezia?
Yeah, you get to Matriarch Benezia. You have some cutscenes with her and Liara, if Liara is in your party.
She was in my party because I remember that there were some special cutscenes.
Yeah.
And I like making people murder their parents.
She was in my party because my Shepard just always has her and Tali in her party.
There was did you get the scene where you're like saying to Liara, do it, and then the other party member's like, I'll finish off Benezia, don't make Liara do it, and I put a gun to that person's head and said, Liara, if you don't kill Benezia, I'll kill I'll kill Tolly. Did you get that scene?
No.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist. I just made it up.
I was just nice about this. Jesus.
Keep shooting, Liara. She's dead. Keep shooting, Liara, if you want Dolly to survive. No, that's not what happened at all.
Liara, I don't want a goddamn person on my team who can't look their mother in the eyes and shoot them dead.
Yeah. Got Paragon points for it. Mass Effect 1.
Lieutenant Williams, you know why they're on my squad? She shot her mom. I'm so sad. This is so funny to me. It's just like, this is the worst. Why does this game make you do this thing?
Because it's crazy. Yeah, no.
Why can't you save this person? Why do they have to die?
Here's the thing. You get so many moral choices out of do you kill this person or not? But, like, the amount of people you kill where you have no choice in the matter is so exponentially, like, it's so much higher, right? Like, it's, yeah, like, you save the Rachni clean later, but, like, you kill so many Rachni to get to that point.
Yeah. And the way... Okay, so I didn't really like Venezia as much as I remember.
No.
I remember thinking she was kind of nuanced and interesting, and I was like, oh, this is pretty flat.
Yeah.
She's voice acted by Marina Sirtis, of Star Trek.
Yep.
Of Star Trek Next Generation.
Is this our only TNG actor in the game?
No, it is not. It is not. Because the Solarian Council member is voiced by Armin Shimmerman.
Of course. Mass Reflect mainstay Armin Sherman. This is the second game we played.
Yes.
With Armin Sherman in it since we also did BioShock 1 as our test run.
Yeah, I've been sitting on that for a little while actually. Cuz I found that and I was like, "Oh, yes." This is the funniest thing to me. And I think that might be more in the other games. We'll find out.
Oh shit, there is another party member who kills their parent. Alright, great. We're going to get to that. I just saw my later notes and I was like, huzzah, this keeps coming back.
I think there are a lot of...
There's a lot of patricide in Mass Effect.
There is a lot of killing your family to prove your blood loyalty to Shepard.
So, it turns out that Matriarch Venezia is experimenting with the Queen and is going to basically turn the Rachni into Saren's slaves.
Yes.
We kill Venezia, where she reveals that she is being mind-controlled by Saren and doesn't have any choice on the matter.
Yeah, it is... She basically begs to die.
Yeah. And Liara is crying while I stick the gun to Tali's head and tell her to kill her mother. It's a very emotional scene.
Yeah, you keep saying it as though it's like a nice emotion, but that just sounds like a nightmare.
I mean, yeah, look, I am a soldier. I want all of my soldiers to have PTSD so that they can be effective killing machines.
That is not the official position of Mass Reflect or myself.
No.
I want...
Also, none of this is true. I am just goofing around. If we were talking about official stances of Mass Reflect, no, none of this happened.
All of this is 100% true and definitely in the video game Mass Effect. You should write to BioWare about this scene that definitely exists in the video
Then after I murdered her mother, I went back to the ship and was like, hey, you want to date? And she was like, yeah! Some people nag. Shepard murders their parents and then asks you out. Hey, you're basically an orphan now. Wanna, get together? You're basically an orphan now, and I'm the person who made you that.
Okay, let's not jump ahead again. Let's take one thing at a time. Now you get to make a decision. You either kill the Rachni Queen or you let her go. And again, this was just very Ender's Game. It was very Ender meeting the Queen and writing that book and becoming the Speaker for the Dead and then going off into a somehow even more insufferable sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about other people's opinions of Ender's Game, but I'm not a fan.
I love it. It's one of my favorite science fiction novels, but it would be a good subject for what this podcast is, of like, wow, there's a lot of really conservative ideals here.
Yeah.
There's also boys kissing, and then the narration saying in big caps letters that this was not sexual.
But so as part of this, like, moment with the Rachni Queen, which I kind of liked the Queen, and...
I did too.
Oh, we should say, you communicate with the Queen by her rather ghoulishly, and actually very like the Thorian.
Yes, it is literally the same thing as the Thorian.
It's the same thing as
it's
the Thorian.
Shocking that
using an
Asari commando as a corpse to talk.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there are fine distinctions, right? Like, the Rachni Queen is literally using a corpse. The Rachni Queen is a necromancer. Oh my god, the Rachni are so cool.
Yeah. The Rachni are who I want this series to be about at this point.
You know what? The Rachni should have... They were right. They should have destroyed all of the council races.
What if they hadn't?
They should have destroyed... You know what? Maybe they weren't going to commit genocide. Maybe they were just going to destroy all of the colonies and be like, no, you all don't deserve space.
I mean, literally...
Because you can't communicate like us.
Literally, the Rachni are just a species who communicate differently. And, like, the Rachni War started in, like, the exact same way that the first Contact War with the Turians started. Which is, like, they were found, and then conflict immediately started. And, like, the thing is, like, they're always like, well, we couldn't talk to the Rachni, but it's like, they could have talked to the humans. The humans communicate in the same way, but they didn't. They just attacked them. And I just feel like this is all, like, right, like, all of the stuff about, like, well, the Rachni, we couldn't communicate with them. Even though they said they wouldn't surrender, also in the same Codex entry.
I would argue that the unstated actual first rule of First Contact in the Mass Effect universe is genocide.
Literally, we met the Rachni and started killing them. Like, not in the game. In the game, we show up at Peak 15, there's an alien species, and we just start murdering it without questioning.
Yep. I mean, it makes, I guess, a little bit of sense the first time you see them. They do attack you immediately.
Fair.
And you eventually learn from the Queen that this is because the Rachni are, basically you learn that all of the Rachni you've been killing are the equivalent of, like, abused children.
They're rabid, is the way it is, you know.
Yes.
They've been...
I know that's the way that's described.
They've gotten, like, disconnected
given...
from the Queen by Binary Helix, I guess. Or by Venezia. It's
yes.
not particularly clear which.
They've been disconnected by the Queen. They haven't been taught, like, how to do their, like, very poetically described language, which is beyond, you know, humans, and I think involves colors. Am I maybe wrong?
I think it is singing. I think it is them.
Singing,
it is them
yes,
doing, like, cricket style singing is the implication I got from that.
Yes. Okay.
No, it's...
I just can't remember.
Here's the thing.
Sorry.
The Rachni... We could just leave Peak 15 to these rabid Rachni, though. We don't belong here any less than they do, you know? And it's not like they're gonna procreate. So just let them live out their stupid life, you know? Like, I said, like, live out their limited lives, you know?
Or how about if you get to the Queen first, she tells you, like, can you, like, let me try to heal these creatures?
What if we actually made a Paragon choice in Mass Effect?
Yeah. maybe you don't have to do the hot labs after this, and instead you can like save a bunch of
because it was such a weird
battered creatures.
It was such a weird thing.
It
was such a weird thing having not done the hot labs before doing the queen, because it was like, why are we doing this? Like, this should have been solved. You know?
Yeah.
Just let me skip this section and go home already. But it's because they...
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's because they assumed you wouldn't do it this way, or that you would want more action if you had done it this way.
Or more resolution, maybe. Maybe they worried that the queen and the boss fight wasn't enough.
Yeah, you know what? The queen and the boss fight was all the fighting I really wanted.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was much better than the first time I played through it, where I had to like muscle my way through a lot of that crap.
So yeah,
and I had to do the hot labs first.
Totally. I think I did the hot labs first when I originally played through it, and it made more sense to me, you know?
Yeah, I definitely did. Which is why I think I instinctively was like, no, I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because I won't lie to you, my memory of this shit is hazy.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah. I thought I had a great memory of Mass Effect. I'm like, I had... No, I knew nothing. I remembered nothing about Mass Effect.
So yeah,
Yeah.
And that pretty much wraps up Noveria.
Yes, there was a fun line during the council. Right, during the decision to kill the queen or let her go, Shepard crosses their arms across their chest and says, "I won't kill your entire species."
Yeah.
And that's like, I'm pretty sure when you're doing a Paragon choice.
But like, here's my question. We've done so much genocide. Is this the beginning? Is the Rachni, is not killing the queen the beginning of this as a society through Shepard recognizing the cycle of violence that has started to happen, that has been going on in this galaxy?
Okay. I would love to say that it is, but I'm really not sure. I think that it might actually be... Yeah, I don't even... Sorry, I do want to get into that, but I don't want to get into that until later because so much happens and I know I'll spoil something if I start talking about it now.
Well, it just... Yeah, we should maybe wait, because there's another scene that comes up later in this game that feels like a weird mirror of it.
Yeah, there's a... Yeah.
Like, I wonder... we're playing it in this order because because this is just the setup we did. But like, maybe we should have gone to Vermeer before this.
Possibly.
Because Vermeer reveals a lot about what is going on that maybe we would have gotten more answers out of Benezia. Or it just would have been restatements of information we already have, you know?
Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't remember if there is additional cutscenes if you go to Vermeer first.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
And now I want to find out.
Now I want to find out. Now I'm going to have to replay Mass Effect after we're done this stupid podcast so I can find out.
Yeah, no, don't worry. We should actually maybe take like a week-long break to replay Mass Effect.
Yeah.
You know, get up a Paragon and Renegade scores. Really, really perfect the build that we're on.
Yeah, totally.
Just do it all before. I'm just kidding. For myself, at least. I'm not gonna do that. No. You have your council debrief.
Yeah.
And as usual, it's this just like fun exchange between politicians who are offering like minor pushback and you being like, nah, it's fine, and that being the whole scene.
I hope my grandchildren don't have to live with your decision, Shepard.
Yep. This was a fun line, though, that Shepard says, "This queen is different. She understands why her species had to be wiped out last time," which is...
This is what I'm saying, right? Like, this is the beginning of consciousness, but not. We're not there yet. You know, like we still can't get over. Like we can't see past the party line, but we are starting to question it.
I guess Shepard might start to do that. I don't think this series actually ever comes down in a great way on either side of this case. And sometimes it's like, no, genocide of species is totally the right answer.
Well, I think, like, what we know about where the Rachni goes, I don't think we ever get a satisfying resolution to the Rachni.
No. We don't.
Afterwards, Leo absolves you of any blame for the death of her mother, which was nice of her.
Yes. Yeah, then I started dating her. That was cool. Yeah.
You were like, wasn't it sexy how I started, how I murdered your mother?
No, I actually hate to say this. It's even weirder. Liara's like, yeah, so were you and Caden like an item?
And you were like, yes. End of story.
And I was like, nah.
Double an item,
and then said. She's like, and then she's like,
we're soulmates.
All right, do me and you have some chemistry? And I'm like, yeah.
But here's the thing, you don't. No offense, but like
you don't. You don't at all. It's so crappy.
With Liara. It is literally, there's just a point where you get to, because I had the same conversation, but it was the Williams one, and it's like, there's literally been no interaction between me and Williams that would make anybody think that we're a couple. There's just none. And there's been no reason why Liara should like me.
No. Well, no, there's been some for me, but it is weird.
Speaking of patricide, we find out that Rex killed his father. Because he was a rival clan leader.
Yeah. This is cool. I mean, I really do like that there are just a lot of people who kill their parents on this ship. It's the best.
It's how, Mass Effect. Just wait till we get to Mass Effect 2.
Yeah. Mass Effect 2. I'm so excited for that.
Williams, but this is what led Rex to losing faith in the Krogan and leaving to become a mercenary. Williams reveals that she's the granddaughter of General Williams, the general who surrendered during the First Contact War. I didn't know what they were referring to because I thought the First Contact War ended in a truce. Apparently, like, when the Turians showed up at one of our colonies, the general surrendered because he had no choice in the matter, because they had, like, orbital bomb. They could have bombarded the entire planet from orbit.
Yeah.
And so Williams is hated in the military because her grandfather is seen as a traitor.
Yeah, he stabbed them in the back. That's the beginning of that narrative for the Mass Effect world. That's the Alliance's stabbed in the back thing. It allowed them to assert more military control over Alliance business. It was a real, in the end, boon, but the Williams family were an obvious sacrifice of it.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Is like the Alliance needs this story to keep its mythos asserted, right? That like they needed to that the First Contact War wouldn't have gone down that way if only the Alliance had been in power, if only the local governments hadn't dithered. You know?
Yes. That is exactly how it is framed.
But it's like, what do you make then of Ashley Williams being like, and that's why that's why I need to be the best Alliance soldier, because I need to prove everyone wrong. Like, is she a victim of this, or is she as much bought in on the line as anyone else? Because she refers to her grandfather as a shame.
Yeah, no, she's bought in. She's 100% bought in. Like, is that a question? Of course she is.
I guess I just wanted to make sure it was clear that that is the framing of this. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, no, totally.
Like,
yeah. Sorry if I seemed like that was not the case. No, she's a nightmare. I can't. Yeah. I can't stress that enough.
It makes me wish that I knew more about what was going on. I mean, I know a little bit because in a side quest I revisited Earth, but like, I have so many questions about about what this. I have so many questions about like Earth as a society at this point.
Yeah, me too.
But we'll get into that when we get into the side quests, I suppose.
We will. We'll get into the brief glimpses of Earth that we have.
So yeah, next our next mission is Noveria. I mean, not Noveria. We just did that one. Vermeer.
Is Vermeer.
We are going to Vermeer for part 5 of this discussion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm excited to. That one's gonna. I hope we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I hope so.
But
too.
I feel like all of the levels in this game, they are much shorter than I remember them being. So we'll see.
Yeah, this might end up being a 20-minute discussion about Vermeer.
Definitely. Yeah, I think I think like ultimately it's going to be how much are we going to want to discuss a lot of the same topics we've recovered, and that's going to be the like how much new information are we going to get about the Solarians and the Krogan here.
I think a lot, and I think I want to talk about the framing of all of this a lot, because I find it very interesting. In my memory, at least. I haven't played this crap yet.
Based on what I remember,
we should maybe preface that with everything. Based off what I remember, I'm very interested, but maybe I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know. There is. What's crazy is we should save that. We should save that thought and get to it next episode.
Absolutely.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please rate and review us on your podcast app of choice.
Yeah.
And share it. Subscribe. Like it. Instagram it. Break it. Just replace it.
TikTok it.
Technologic. All right. We'll see you all next week.